Hey, what's up guys? Brian Ellwood. Do you guys want to stop spending time on all that little tiny stuff that just eats up all your time and doesn't really get you anywhere or move you forward to your goals at all? If so, you're going to want to tune into this video. So the biggest difference that I've noticed between people who have achieved a lot of success and people who can't really seem to get a foothold is the way that you value your time. Okay. Let's take like painting some cabinets as an analogy. Okay. Now you could probably get someone to come to your house and paint some cabinets for you for, let's call it $14 an hour. Okay. And then let's say it took them 10 hours to paint the cabinet. So that'd be $140 to paint your cabinets. Okay. It might take more than that, but let's just use round numbers, okay? 10 hours, 140 bucks, right? So a lot of people would take the option of, well, you know, I don't want to hire someone and spend the money, so I'm just going to do it myself, right? And so they'll go buy the paint and watch some YouTube videos and get some paint brushes, and they'll do it themselves, right? And at the end of that, they'll have some cabinets that have been painted. Maybe not quite as good as a professional, but you know, they got them done and their bank account is $140 richer, right? Because they did not pay anyone to paint the cabinets for them, okay? So they essentially earned 140 bucks by doing the job themselves, okay? Because if you pay someone, they come to your house, your bank account's going to be $140 less because you got to pay someone to paint those cabinets, okay? So if you take the option of painting them yourself, then you're signing up for a job that pays $140 because at the end of that, you would be $140 richer than if you paid someone else to do it, okay? Now, if it took you 10 hours to do it, like I said, you're signing up for a job that pays $14 an hour. So you're basically saying, you know what, my time is worth about 14 bucks an hour. I'm willing to spend 10 hours to save 14 bucks an hour, to save $140. Okay. So you're basically saving $14 an hour by doing it yourself, which is the same thing as making $14 an hour. It's the same exact net result in your bank account. Now I know some of you are saying, well, Brian, I love painting cabinets. So there's some things that I just really love to do. Like my dad, for example, he really loves to cut the grass. He says it's exercise for him. It's relaxing. He likes to be in control over, you know, how his grass looks. And so if that's the case with something that's coming to your mind when you're listening to this, then by all means continue to do it, right? I'm not telling you to like delegate everything and just sit around like some asshole who won't like lift a finger, okay? If you like doing some stuff or you want to maintain control over something because it's really important to you, do it, okay? But for a lot of people, the money is the consideration, okay? And what I'm here to ask, you know, you or anyone that would say, yes, I'll paint those cabinets myself, is what could you have done in 10 hours, which is a lot of time, that would have been worth more than $140, okay? What could you have done to earn more than $14 an hour? What type of work do you think would bring you about $100 an hour? What about $500 an hour? What about $1,000 an hour? You know, what types of activities could you have been doing that would produce that result, right? If I'm trying to buy rental properties, the two activities that are the highest leverage are calling private money lenders to raise funds, because if you have the money, that's half the battle, right? And then finding deals and making offers, basically, or mainly the making offers part. That's the other part. So raising money and making offers, right? Those two things lead to success, because if you have the money, you're good. And if you make a bunch of offers that are, you know, low, where you're going to be really happy if they accept one of them eventually is going to come back signed, and then you're going to have a good deal and the money to buy it. And that's what you need to have a successful investment. Okay. If I spent 10 hours raising private money and making offers, I guarantee I could secure at least one or two new good lenders and probably get one or two good deals under contract. Okay. And that's in the same time it took me to paint the cabinets if I had chosen to do that. Now, let's say I only got one deal and one lender. Let's just be conservative in 10 hours of work. Well, the last house I bought, when I am done renovating it, it's going to have at least $15,000 in equity in it, and it's going to rent for it's going to net me about $300 a month. So we'll call it $3,600 a year, right? So $15,000 in equity, and that's going to keep growing because it's in Huntsville, it's booming, and $3,600 a year. So in just the first year, that's a net gain of, almost $20,000, right? So I could have found that deal and secured the funding for it in those 10 hours and netted almost 20 grand plus all the future gain that's going to come from that. Or I could have saved $140 and painted some cabinets, right? So which one is the smartest option? I mean, the answer is obvious, right? And one of the biggest things I see for people that are struggling to get a foothold is they haven't yet had that aha. And they're still doing stuff that they shouldn't be messing with. If you have some goals that you really want to be getting to, but you just don't feel like you ever have the time to work on it, yet you're spending 2 hours on Saturday every weekend, like cutting your own grass, then why not pay someone $25 to $50 a week to come do that for you? Okay. So you can spend those 2 hours working towards your goals. Don't you think that 2 hours on Saturday working towards your goals in the long run is going to net you more than $25 to $50 a week? I mean, if you don't have the $25 to $50, if you just flat out do not have it, by all means, you got to cut the grass. No shame on, to you or by any means, but most people have it because that's the same person that goes out to eat whenever they want, or goes on vacation. So they're spending money on things that make them feel good, but they're not spending money to buy their time back, which to me, nothing makes me feel better than having free time to relax or work on my goals. I once heard a very successful woman say that you should really only be spending your time doing two things. You should spend time focusing on your greatest strengths, the thing that you really love to do that's making the biggest difference in the world and earning a generous income for yourself. That's the first thing. And then the second thing you should be doing is totally disconnecting and totally recharging and relaxing and rejuvenating yourself. You do those two things, you're going to crush it. And you're going to be able to work a minimal amount of hours, make a ton of money, do what you love, delegate all the stuff that you don't like to do, get it off of your plate, okay? Guys, I delegate so much stuff in my life. I have 2 assistants that work for me, one for the real estate investing side and one for the education business, okay? And, they're both part-time, right? So maybe they work, a total of, 30 hours a week between both of them, maybe 15 hours a week per assistant, right? But the amount of things that they do, it's amazing. And if I was doing all those things myself, if I didn't have help, that's all I would do. I mean, guys, I just said they work 30 hours a week cumulatively between the 2 businesses. If they weren't around, I would have to do all the stuff that they're doing because someone has to do that stuff. It's important stuff. It's just not the stuff that is my greatest strength, the things I can bring to the businesses that can actually really help them grow, right? And cumulatively, maybe I might pay the assistants, 40 grand a year cumulatively. So for both of them. And then, so remember that number, 40,000. And I'm getting 30 hours a week of time back. And then remember, this number. So, let me tell you about all the other things I delegate. So I get everything delivered through Amazon. I have everything on subscribe and save, right? So that means like you can get like your toothpaste and your paper towels and your shampoo and your dog food, and you can get it all on a subscription to where it's delivered on a recurring basis, however frequent you set it to be delivered. And you actually get 15% off if you have at least 5 things delivered per month, which I promise you, if you go through your whole house, you can find 5 things that you're going to the store and buying every month. And so all that stuff just arrives like clockwork every month. And then we have the groceries delivered every single Sunday. We have someone come to the house and pick up the dog poop, because in Denver you have to do that because the grass is super sensitive out here. So that's literally 3 days a week. Someone like comes and picks up my button-up shirts, and they wash and iron them and bring them back like in plastic, you know, so that I can look crisp if I have to go to a meeting or a seminar or something like that. Like if I need new clothes, I'll sign up for one of those delivery services that like send you a box and you can ship back what you don't want and only pay for what you keep. So I'm not going to the mall and stuff. I mean, there's so many things I outsource, guys. Like that's just a glimpse into some of the things I outsource on a personal level. And then, like I said, within the businesses and all that personal stuff, maybe that, you know, is another 10 grand a year. So let's call it 50,000 a year that I spend to get time back. And I'm getting, you know, let's say, you know, let's be super conservative. Let's pretend I only get 25 hours a week of time back between the assistants and all that other personal stuff. Okay. Let's just round down. 25 hours a week. That's 1,300 hours per year that I get back. Okay. So 1,300 hours, guys. I know 50,000 is a lot of money to get anything, but would you pay 50 grand to get 1,300 hours a year of your time back? That's over half of the average 40-hour work week, right? Because we're talking about getting 25 hours back. That's 5 hours a day, guys. It's a lot. That's working hours too. Most people's 8-hour workday includes the hour lunch break, so they're working only 7, right? So like, don't you think if you had 1,300 extra hours a year, which boils down to 5 a day, that you could do something with that time to earn the $50,000 to pay for some help and some outsourcing and some services like I do? I mean, guys, that time earns me a lot more than $50,000, right? But even if I was just breaking even on it, it would be worth it. So I hope this lesson is kind of driving this home for you. If you guys focus on high leverage activities with your time, then you will earn more money and you will be able to start to afford help. You don't have to jump right to where I'm at. What if you just had someone work 5 hours a week and just one of those like services that I mentioned, not like 7 of them like I have, right? You know, and then you get more money because you're doing more valuable stuff, and then you can get a little bit more, increase your assistant's hours and go up a little higher, a little higher. That's kind of how I do it, right? And so think about this. Think about areas in your life where you're doing something that you could be paying someone 8, 12, 14 bucks an hour to do. And what could you do with the time? What high leverage activities could you guys do with the time that would be well worth it and make way more money than it costs to pay someone to do that thing? Cool. Hope that helps, guys. Thank you for tuning in. And if you guys want to check out my group coaching program, that is the price of your gym membership, where I will teach you exactly how to get your first 12 rental properties so you guys can stop trading time for dollars. Check out myfirst12houses.com, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.